All right. Well, this ought to be fun. Read a bunch of real horrible rumors in Boulder.
Welcome to Medicare. Para español, marque 8. In a few words, briefly tell me the reason for your call today.
Abuse by the ombudsman's office.
You have a complaint, is that right?
Medicare abuse.
You'd like to speak with an agent, right?
Yes.
Just a moment while I transfer you to an agent who can help. This call may be monitored or recorded for quality and training purposes.
It is recorded. I'm recording it.
I didn't catch that. Please say yes or press 1, no or press 2.
For what?
Thank you. After speaking with the agent, please remain on the line for the survey. Welcome to Medicare's automated customer survey. You will be asked 8 questions, and your feedback will help improve the service you receive in the future. Throughout the survey, if you need a question repeated, press the star key. Would you give the Medicare number to a friend?
No.
Press 1 if the answer is yes, and 2
No.
if the answer is no. Please answer the following question using a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is poor and 5 is excellent. You may use any number between 1 and 5 to answer the question. If you don't know, please press 7.
Fucking Christ!
Person's knowledge of the Medicare system. I'm sorry, we did not receive your response. Please answer the following question using a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is poor and 5 is excellent. You may use any number between 1 and 5 to answer the question. If you don't know, please press 7. How would you rate the person's knowledge? Again, answer the following question using a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is poor and 5 is excellent. If you don't know, please press 7. How would you rate the person's ability to give you a clear answer to your questions? How would you rate the person's ability to understand your question or concern? Please use a scale. If you have used our website, Medicare.gov, please rate your most recent experience. Using the same scale of 1 is poor and 5 is excellent. Press 7 if you've not used the website. Using a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is poor and 5 is excellent, how would you rate the time it took you to get through to a customer service representative who helped you? Thinking now about your general experience with using the automated telephone system, how would you rate the clearness of the instructions? Use a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is poor and 5 is excellent. How would you rate your overall experience with Medicare customer service? Again, please use the scale where 1 is poor and 5 is excellent. Thank you very much for your time. Your opinions will help us provide the best service possible. Thank you for calling Medicare. Goodbye.
Well, fuck you. Answer the goddamn phone, you pieces of shit.
Welcome to Medicare.
Operator.
Para español, marque 8.
Operator.
In a few words, briefly tell me the reason for your call today.
Operator.
All right. Please briefly tell me the reason you want to speak with an agent today.
Operator.
I'll need your Medicare number from your red, white, and blue Medicare card. Do you have that handy?
No.
If you think you could find your Medicare number if I give you some time, press star.
Operator.
Just a moment while I transfer you to an agent who can help. This call may be monitored or recorded for quality and training purposes. After speaking with the agent, would you be willing to take part in a survey regarding your customer service experience? Say yes or press 1, no or press 2.
No.
Thank you for calling Medicare. My name is Ignacio Garcia. How may I help you?
Well, I just had a very inappropriate conversation with one of your staff members there, and I'd like to speak to a supervisor.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that, sir. I'll be more than happy to get you over to a supervisor. Give me just a moment.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Let's see here. All right, sir. Please hold. I'm going to go ahead and get you over to a supervisor.
All right.
Thank you for calling Medicare. This is Ken Brown. I understand you requested a supervisor.
Yes, sir. And I'm sorry if I get loud. I have an ear infection in my left ear. And also, I'm autistic, and part of that is that when there's noises going on around me, it's difficult for me to hear anyways. So my voice may get louder. It's not to yell at you. It's not a sign of hatred or anything like that.
Well, thank you for letting me know.
Yes, sir. Another thing is people talk over me. That's probably the biggest issue with my disabilities because I have PTSD. I'm the easiest person in the world to talk over. I called because I was given the number to the Medicare ombudsman. The number that I called, it claimed as the medical ombudsman, so I have it, or Medicare ombudsman, so I typed it in as the Medicare ombudsman. The lady that I spoke with, and mind you, I also have a stuttering issue that I'm really trying hard to deal with. I'm sorry, it's a pretty stressful situation. I'm just gathering my thoughts for a second. So,
Twitter?
do what?
It's quite all right.
Thank you. When I called up, the lady told me that according to my card, it was Medicaid, not Medicare. They looked up my social security number and said I don't have Medicaid, I have Medicare. Let me check my card. Anyway, so I asked her for the number to the Medicaid office. See, that's the thing is that I have to call a lot of government agencies. Like there's 8 different numbers that I have just for the Health and Human Services, and they all do different stuff. So between Medicare and Medicaid, I always get those two mixed up. It's not because I'm stupid, it's because I'm overwhelmed. I'm in a state of panic, in a state of crisis. That does not mean that I'm trying to kill myself or anyone else. I'm not homicidal, and I'm not into killing myself. The problem is that I'm abused a lot. I tried explaining the lady linearly because that's the easiest way to understand it. It's also the easiest way for somebody who's autistic to be able to explain it, because then it's not difficult to rehearse what we need to explain. Because people don't allow us to form our sentences, and when we're in a state of crisis, we can't form our sentences properly. And people use that against us and abuse it daily. Like, if we stim, we have to worry about getting shot by the police. But also, we have to worry about talking to the police if we don't have a friend or family member there, because if our words don't come together right, we're a criminal going to jail for either a crime that didn't happen or a crime that somebody else committed. I also have Tourette syndrome, so I do funky stuff with my wrists. So that's likely to get me targeted as well, and it often does. Sometimes I wink at people, and that ends up being issues as well. People don't like weird people or creepy people, and I just exist as a non-attractive person. Oh, God, my head is so stuffed up. Anyway, I tried telling the lady what was going on, and she kept on interrupting me. And then she kept on wanting to make this over and over insinuation of medications over and over again. On multiple occasions, there was something I was trying to explain to her, and she wanted to, exclaim in a super excited voice. I needed her to stop and listen if she's going to engage with me in a conversation at all. If I'm not with Medicare and I'm with Medicaid instead, then she didn't need to engage in that conversation. And she certainly didn't need to talk to me and then interrupt every single thing that I say to play contrarian or devil's advocate or anything like that. Literally, I have 15 minutes recording with her basically bullying me, talking over me, making insinuations of things that didn't happen, and not listening to a thing that I had to say. Now, if she's going to listen to the victim, I can understand that. But for her to literally talk over everything that I said, downplay everything that I said, and belittle me the way that she did, and then start playing victim, that is never acceptable. That is never okay. Now, for me, I've had mandated reporter training in multiple states. Whenever I move as a disabled adult, I have to know the mandated reporter training, because as an autistic adult, I may be victimized to the point that I literally cannot function, cannot talk, cannot do anything except rock back and forth and make funny noises. And then I get made fun of. I get called every curse word that there is in the book, and I have a YouTube channel that I now stream on my YouTube channel about how horrible these experiences are. I didn't intend to be an at-risk or disabled adult. And I also didn't intend for that lady to, if she's not the one I need to talk to, I don't understand why she was trying to play devil's advocate and try to engage with me in a long conversation so that she could either talk over me or be condescending about everything that I was trying to say. If she's going to ask me a question, she needs to allow me to finish answering it. And that isn't what happened. Now, I don't know how much time you're allowed to take on this, but I'd like to play that recording back for you if that's okay.
I wouldn't be the one to do that. It might be the only way that we could actually get something done now in regards to it. What time did you initially contact?
It was about, I want to say 44 minutes before I called you guys, actually, is when the phone call started.
Heroin or anything like
Oh.
that?
This is actually part of the conversation. The thing is that no matter what I said, she kept on redirecting me back to medications, therapists. When I'm trying to turn in crimes that are committed against me, I don't need somebody victim blaming me and victim shaming me. And everybody that I go to alone, that's what ends up happening. It's not acceptable treatment. Now, later on in the video, even after I've explained to her that I'm not going to yell at anybody to be rude or inconsiderate, she starts pulling the whole victim blaming thing. And then the precursor to somebody, pretending like you're being predatory is them pretending like you're yelling at them or pretending like you're blaming them. And that's not okay either.
Okay. May I have your first and last name, please?
Yes, sir. My first name is Sean, S-H-A-W-N.
Last name?
Schwartz, S-C-H-W-A-R-T-Z.
Your home phone number, if you don't mind.
Give me just one moment. It is... Yes, sir. That is correct.
All right. Did you provide information the last time you called? Your name, phone number, and the like?
I did, and you guys, it says that you guys record for your end as well, so, yeah.
Okay.
It says you guys record for quality assurance. Now, the recording itself is like 17 minutes long. The problem is I need help stopping abuse, and this is not okay. I'm still a person.
Twin sister, and also...
Sorry about that. I was trying to open up my phone.
Okay.
It doesn't work anymore for anything except recording, but it's better than nothing. I know that we're not supposed to be talked over. You're not supposed to make insinuations that the victim must have deserved it. And, making grandiose exclamations at people, that just is, it comes across as condescending. I'm a grown-ass adult. Most of the issues that I have is that I get talked over and I get afraid to speak because I'm just getting talked over. And then I literally have to scream for help. And that's not something that anybody should have to do. I get that my voice doesn't mean much, but at least I'm able to speak. At least I'm able to use the English language and form almost complete sentences most of the time. But the more afraid I am, the more likely I am to stutter. Also, the environment around me, it's going to be, loud. There's also the sheer number of people that want to go out of their way to play victim because somebody who is an autistic adult or somebody who is going through a severe crisis because of abuse, when you've got the operator on the other end pretending like you're yelling at them or screaming at them when literally you're just speaking in this voice here. And I get that my voice is loud. I get it. But as soon as they start playing like I'm trying to victimize them because I'm speaking, that's not acceptable. That is the worst thing that you can do to a person. How are we supposed to trust any government agency that hires people that do that? Meanwhile, it's primarily women who do that. I've spoken to many men online, and they say, yeah, I understand you're frustrated. I don't take it personal. I get that you're afraid. But, that's the thing that is not acceptable here is that I'm being harmed because of my gender, because of public bias, and also because police aren't following the laws and neither is the medical community. All a police officer has to do when I try to turn him in is take me to a hospital, call me mentally ill, and insinuate that I'm schizophrenic and need to be drugged. That's not acceptable.
And that's what the previous CSR did to you? Is that correct?
The previous lady that I spoke with on the phone, I told about half an hour worth of conversation with her. I don't know what a CSR is though.
Customer service representative, I'm sorry.
Okay.
The customer service representative on your initial contact earlier today, they were the ones that treating you in that poor of a manner?
Yes, sir.
That's. You said the call was about 44 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, it'll be about an hour ago now that it started, but it was about a 30 or 40-minute conversation. Maddie Bowie. Sorry, I had to unlock my phone, and every time I do, it starts playing that video again.
Well, let me go ahead and seek something here really quick, okay? I need to talk with someone and to make sure that the course of action is correct.
Yes, sir.
I apologize for the silence.
That's quite all right. I'm a disabled and at-risk adult. I was staying in Chapel, Nebraska in assisted living, but I was told that I had to go to the Front Range of Colorado in order to get assistance. So I had to rent a place with drug addicts and drug dealers in Colorado in order to get services there. All of the people that I was sent to that were supposed to help stop the stalking I was enduring, the police kept sending me to mental health workers. And I had three therapists before Natalie was killed. Jeff Ritter, Nicole Peralta, and Nicole Gerald. And I've had one of them since that I've seen for long enough to make the diagnosis that cops tried to make. And her name is Marcia Estrada. Now, all four of these mental health professionals state outright and clearly that I'm not schizophrenic or delusional. But when cops accuse you of that stuff, it doesn't work. When cops take you to a hospital, they got a chance that the hospital's going to do their job. They've also got a chance that the hospital's going to believe the officer. And that's not professional at all. When officers are allowed to quote-unquote diagnose you with schizophrenia at a hospital that you were at less than 20 hours, that's never acceptable, and that's never okay.
What time zone are you in, if you don't mind my asking?
I am now in Tillamook, Oregon, so I'm West Coast. God, where's my Kleenex? Right now, I'm on one of my good days. Believe it or not, even though I'm not able to hear hardly anything, but when I get really, really scared, I just rock back and forth in my car and make funny noises, and it's been used to hurt me in the past.
I'm sorry you had such a horrible experience contacting us. I spoke with somebody while you were talking.
Yes, sir.
And via email. And the best course of action is for me to send it to my supervisor. And what they do is go ahead and seek the information and review it and find the best course of action for the context based on what we do here.
Yes, sir. The other thing is, are you guys Medicare or Medicaid? I'm gonna have to write that down. I didn't write down the name of it when I took down the number.
We are Medicare.
Medicare. So it's Medicaid that I have. Medicaid is the state one, right?
Medicare is the federal. Medicare is a federal health insurance program.
All right. What's the... All right, so here's another thing that gets really confusing. I looked up the number for the Medicare ombudsman because I was sent to them as to try to turn in the crimes that were committed at the hospitals. And without it being Medicare, I have to go to Medicaid. Well, how can I do that about this stuff that started in Colorado? That's the thing about being bullied into moving repeatedly. I never get to stay somewhere long enough to get established. Does that make sense?
Maybe in the state of Colorado, I might be able to look up resources locally there.
Well, I'm in the state of Oregon, and this is, since it's across multiple jurisdictions, it makes it impossible because, like, who do I go to? I don't have a friend or family member who's going to make the calls, so anybody that I call is literally just going to do what that lady did on the phone with me, which is talk over me and then play victim, make false insinuations. It's rude and it's inconsiderate and it's dehumanizing. She was literally trying to do the things that push a person to commit suicide. And I grew up in the system, and a lot of people want to down on that, but I got a hell of an education. I grew up in the system in Colorado, Nebraska, and Wyoming primarily, also California and Washington State. I know, or at least at the time, knew most of the mandated reporter laws because when you're in the system, you go to classes and they teach you that stuff. Who you're supposed to call when bullied, all that kind of crap too.
Now, the complaints that you have in Colorado, is that with the facility you were at?
Yes. It's not just the facility. Sir, police officers use those facilities to try to frame me for murder, and then to try to cover up for the fact that they tried to frame me for murder. So, if you can imagine what the hell the last 7 years of my life has been. I can't go to a police officer, and I can't go to a hospital. I'm a homeless person. Before all this stuff with Natalie Bollinger happened, where she got her brains blown out and cops tried to frame me for her murder, before that it was tough enough going to a hospital or going to a police officer as a homeless person. They want to shove us off to a mental health place, or they want to send us off to a homeless shelter. And that's it. They don't give a shit about crimes that are committed against us, and they gaslight us every opportunity they get. So the difficulty that I've got is that I get sent around in magic circles of a bunch of mandated reporters who, instead of doing their jobs as mandated reporters the first time around, they play stupid and retarded. And if I bring it up or I say, hey, do not play victim, do not do that, well, the first thing they do is get worse about it. Now, I'm not sure, you probably have a degree in psychology or psychiatry in order to be on this line. That's just an assumption. But, sorry, I got an earache.
It's quite all right.
When I get overwhelmed, it's difficult for me to communicate. It's difficult for me to speak. When I'm interrupted, which you're not doing, it clogs up the works. Now, they're going to be clogged up anyway because I'm stuck in public and I'm constantly looking over my shoulder as a homeless person. But also, after police officers tried to claim that I was schizophrenic and delusional to the hospital in Longmont, Colorado, as well as the hospital in Boulder, Colorado. Boulder, Colorado wasn't willing to write that down. They didn't want the trouble. But Longmont, Colorado, there was an officer named Burke. I was trying to turn in the officers in Natalie's case. Officer Burke was actually one of the officers in Natalie's case. He'd been kicked out of the Denver Police Department and been transferred to Longmont Police Department. So they pretended I was trying to kill myself. They promised that they were going to take me somewhere that I could make a report and that they would look at the evidence. Instead, they took me to the hospital and claimed that I was trying to kill myself, which is bullshit. They also claimed that I was schizophrenic. I was there for less than 20 hours. My bag of evidence sat outside of that door, and when I said, hey, you need to get those police officers back here so that they can look at that evidence, they had orderlies come in and inject me with drugs, along with an assault by Officer Burke himself. Then when I was under the influence of Haldol and Ativan and Benadryl, they decided to quote-unquote serve me with a protection order while I was under illegal chemical restraints. This stuff should not happen. This should never be allowed to happen. Now, thank goodness, the guy who killed Natalie Bollinger was busted, but for me to have to go back to police officers to try to turn them in literally to themselves, that allows them to retaliate against me in ways that are immoral. And the fact that the hospital, rather than actually do something, like actually listen to the patient, they just wrote down what the officers wanted them to. That's also not acceptable. That allows me a reputation that is used to harm me literally everywhere that I go. Where I can't turn in abuse, or I'm going to get treated like I'm a druggie, or a drug addict, or a schizophrenic. Meanwhile, I've got Marcia Estrada. She was my mental health worker in Nebraska. I've got recording after recording with her. I've also got my paperwork from her that shows that I'm not schizophrenic. I'm not delusional. I don't have hallucinations. I am not psychotic. But the thing is that, is her word being heard? Is my word being heard? No. She's literally the only doctor that I've seen long enough to be able to actually diagnose any such a thing. The police officers wanted me to be pegged as schizophrenic so they could try to insinuate that in court. And because of that, I literally was denied all of my rights as a human being. Meanwhile, I've still never been diagnosed with schizophrenia. A police officer telling somebody that I'm schizophrenic is not the same as a diagnosis. And of course, I've also got multiple mental health professionals stating that as well, that a police officer cannot diagnose schizophrenia. So hospitals shouldn't be writing it down just because an officer said so.
In terms of the healthcare facility, the only resource I have is called the Quality Improvement Organization. The Quality Improvement Organization takes complaints and let me go ahead and so they're healthcare experts in general that evaluate and improve the healthcare that people with Medicare receive from providers. So
it's called Quality.
And you mentioned
I write really
organization.
slow. Quality what?
Improvement Organization.
All right. Are they mandated reporters?
I don't have information on that. And I'm sorry about that. But the information you stated about the chemical restraint was why a complaint would be valid there.
Well, sir, I can give you the names of the facilities I was in, the facility I was injected in. You can look up Tibor Hite, Clearview Behavioral Health. You can also look up Johnstown Heights Behavioral Health, which is what Clearview turned into. When you try to turn in a police officer, one of their go-tos is to send you out of jurisdiction to a hospital in a different jurisdiction. While you're at that hospital in a different jurisdiction trying to turn in the cop that committed a felony against you, they're telling you that you're not allowed because you're in the wrong jurisdiction. The cops claim that you're trying to kill yourself, so they take you into the hospital. The hospital says, oh, well, you're here of your own volition. You say, well, okay, then I'm leaving. And then they slam you down to the floor, inject you with drugs, and say, well, the doctor says that your court order, or the doctor says that he's ordering you to stay here now. Like, okay, well, how's that working? Is he getting a court order? Like, why would you tell me I was there of my own volition? Meanwhile, we've got the services up here committing Medicare and Medicaid fraud against at-risk adults. I've been recording it up here just in Tillamook for over a year now.
And again, I am terribly sorry all of this has occurred to you, and you're still having frustrated contacts. But the only information I have here that might be able to help you would be to contact the Quality Improvement Organization, or QIO, and provide them the information on the chemical restraint and the facilities and other aspects that occurred to you. Similar to that, abuse, neglect, mistreatment, that type of thing, that type of occurrence, excuse me, please, for the programmer. And
I need a mandated reporter to turn it in. I don't know why it... Could I get the number?
The phone number is 888.
I'm abused both there and here in Tillamook, and I there has to be some way to stop this. This is so inhumane. I've literally been making call after call for 7 years and nobody hears me. It's just another call after another call. Go ahead.
And, after 888-317. (0891).
Why do we have 4,000 places that don't help? They just send us to other numbers. Thank you for taking my oral report on that lady. I really need to... Is there somebody that I could turn this in? Because this puts me at higher risk. I mean, it makes it so that I can't function when people do that to me, sir.
The most I can do is send it out to my supervisor for review. Let me go ahead and see if I have any other resources locally that might assist.
I do this every single day, sir. I just make call after call after call after call. I called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 numbers yesterday in a row, over and over and over again. Each of those places telling me that it's not their job, I got to go to someone else. It's exhausting. I literally can't take care of myself, and I have to spend all of my money making phone calls, keeping gas in my vehicle, paying my insurance on my vehicle. I literally live in my vehicle. I was in an assisted living place. All I needed was help stopping the abuse that I had to endure. I shouldn't have ever had to move out of that assisted living place.
I have some other numbers here. Northwest Senior and Disability Service.
They won't do their job.
Community Action Resource.
I'm going to tell you something about anything that you're going to send me local. They're going to tell me they can't do anything about Colorado, but they're going to use the reputation from Colorado to harm me here. When you're arrested for assault against a police officer, when you're assaulted by the police officer, no cop is your friend. When I'm told that I have to call 911 as a homeless male, I am going to be harmed. I'm going to be bullied by the 911 operator. And that's the thing. I am an at-risk and disabled adult who's easy to talk over. Nobody ever looks at the evidence. I'm tired of making call after call. I literally can't take care of myself, and instead of people doing their jobs for me as an at-risk adult, they take advantage of the fact that I can't even take care of myself, and then they harm me and use the fact that I can't take care of myself as an excuse to harm me. And somebody needs to listen to that recording with her so that you understand why I'm so stressed out. Anyway, I'm sorry for... Go ahead.
That's quite all right. I typed that in as a request from you that someone needs to listen to the recording to understand your stress and context. And I will let my supervisor know that.
Sir, I'm in constant fear all the time. That's why I have such difficulty speaking. And there is literally no way that I can process the mass quantities of evidence that I have. It's not possible. And then I get bullied as if because it's not possible that I'm not trying. Obviously, I try.
And unfortunately, that's the only thing I can do.
Yes, sir.
And I'm terribly sorry about that.
Yes, sir. You said you had some other numbers?
Well, the other numbers here you mentioned were local.
Yeah.
And Northwest Senior and Disability Service in Tillamook County.
Yeah, that's the problem is that, sir, my safety has not been considered through any of this. I was literally bullied out of my own place. Do you know how messed up that is? I was literally bullied out of assisted living. Twice. I have to deal with social isolation. I have to record everything that I do and everywhere I go. I try to explain what it's like when people target you on the internet. And instead of people looking at evidence, like any one of you could literally type up the name Natalie Bollinger right now and see exactly what I have to deal with. But it doesn't occur to anybody that anyone could possibly be harmed over people slandering them on the internet. Natalie Bollinger, when she was killed, it was very popular. It's still really popular among a lot of web sleuths. Instead of police officers doing their job for me, they just pretend like I'm retarded and try to send me on to mental health. Mental health tells me it's not their job, I gotta go back to the police. And back and forth they send me until somebody starts playing victim. And you know what, that sucks. When you have to make that effort back and forth, you're doing what you're told, and then you're threatened and harmed. Like, do you have any understanding of what it's like when you're literally calling the mandated reporters you're told to call? And they're literally talking over you and bullying you and then threatening to have you arrested? It's scary, sir. Could you have a note on there for somebody to look up the name Natalie Bollinger? You get to see why people were so eager to try to pretend like I was some sort of schizophrenic.
And Natalie Bollinger is the person that this is the individual that passed away and the police attempted to frame me for.
Yeah. They also took advantage of my disabilities by not allowing me the information I needed in order to take her to court or to go to court against her. She was able to get a protection order against me, and I had zero chance of going to court or even knowing that I had court. I didn't even know she was in the state of Colorado. I literally fled to Colorado to get away from abuse by her and her family, and hopefully that would make it so that her and her family wouldn't have access to me. I mean, I was literally hundreds of miles away, 1,700 miles away. I had friends in Virginia who kept inviting me to go there and see them, and I kept on telling them, no, I don't want to be that close to Natalie and her family. I've got recordings with the witnesses about those situations. And they're all over the internet on my YouTube channel because, like, literally without a friend or family member helping me turn it in, police and mental health care workers and all of them just talk over me. They refuse to look at evidence. And I spend all of my money going to see therapists who tell me that it's not their job to be mandated reporters. Like, do you know what that's like for all the places that you go to commit Medicare and Medicaid fraud just because they can? That's standard practice and standard procedure for homeless people. Did you know that? Most places...
Well, I do appreciate you taking the time out to provide the information to me.
Thank you, sir.
The most I can do now is send it on to my supervisor, and that's about it. And I'm sorry, that's all I can do.
I got a question for you, though. When people commit these crimes and we get to see them on jail, or on TV, going to jail and going to prison, who are those people turned in by, and who are they turned into?
Office of Inspector General, I can give that phone number.
All right, I may not have that one yet here, but the thing is, I need the stuff for Colorado too, and they need to work together. But you know what? I'll write down any number that you give me.
800 447 8477.
Are these people going to take advantage of my disabilities?
I can't answer that, sir, and I'm sorry. They're responsible for identifying and eliminating fraud in many programs, including Medicare. So that's the only other number I have that could potentially provide you the support.
All right. Are they just for Oregon or are they for nationwide?
This is a federal contact number.
All right. Thank you, sir.
I do thank you for reaching out to Medicare. You take care and have a great day, sir.
Be safe. Thank you. You see, all day on the fucking phone or waiting on the phone to charge up. It doesn't change a goddamn thing. See, it takes a friend or fucking family member to actually give a shit instead of it allowing it to get this fucked up. Of course, when my friend can't stay off drugs and alcohol, what can I expect? Jack shit.